What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Monkish Brewing Company, and they're out of Torrance, California, and this is their Life Is Foggiest. So they're calling this one a triple dry hopped IPA that comes in at 7% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed, time of review. This can is approximately 5 weeks old. I want to give a huge thanks, shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and a viewer of the channel, Sierra Hotel, for this beer. So big thanks to him. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies he hooked me up with in his first beer mail. I believe he hooked me up with four different Monkish. And this was the one that I was really looking forward to because they have their Life Is Foggy series where they have a Life Is Foggy, Life Is Foggier, and then this, Life Is Foggiest. And they're all brewed with Citra and Nelson Sauvin and Galaxy hops. The OG is just brewed with those hops. The Life Is Foggier is double dry hopped, and this is triple dry hopped. They also have a double IPA version of each beer, and that has the same hops and the same thing, a regular double dry hopped and triple dry hopped. I have had the irregular, Foggy Window is the name of the series. It's Foggy Window, Foggy Window, Foggier Window, and Foggiest Window. And I've had the Foggy Window, and it was delicious. I reviewed it on the channel, just fantastic. So I'm looking forward to this a lot. Let's just say that. 7% triple dry hopped IPA. 5 weeks old. Hopefully the hop burn is in check. But there's Galaxy in this, and based on some of you guys who commented on the, Brainwave Swell review where I got a lot of hop burn, people talked about how Galaxy, the last couple years, a lot of breweries kind of staying away from it because it's kind of volatile to some degree where it's like they don't know what they're going to get. So I am hoping that this is straight up delicious and there's minimal hop burn. So put this over here, a little bit darker than a lot of the Monkish. Yeah, I mean, honestly, this looks like it might have a smidge. It's going to look darker on camera, but in person, let me hold it up to light. Yeah, I'm not going to say it has it doesn't look like an EQ oxidized beer, but it has a little bit of a darker. It's almost a orange honey color, but it's very, since it's so turbid and just has that milky look to it, it just looks probably darker than it should. Had about a finger of an off-white soap sudsy looking head that is dissipated to a thin film. Yeah, can't really generate one back, so that's kind of disappointing. Hold up to the light. Yeah, this looks like turkey gravy, right? To some degree. That's kind of what it looks like. A little bit of alcohol legs at 7%, which is interesting. Let's get a nose. It smells awesome. Does smell like it has a little bit of hopper. Oh, but it's so vibrant from the try. I'm getting an absolute shit ton mixture of pineapple, probably from the Galaxy, and white grapes, probably from the Nelson. There's also huge candied citrus, like orange, mostly orange, tangerine. Oh, it smells so good. There is a little bit of a floral kind of dank kind of character. Don't really say floral dank or dank floral, but that's what I'm kind of getting here. A little bit of a yeasty thing happening, like a touch of a bubble gum. Yeah, definitely a little bit of a bubblegum kind of yeast ester. A lot of times with these hazies, you can pick that out. Some folks will say bubblegum, some will say cotton candy. A lot of times I say vanilla, more bubblegum in this one. What else is in here? Peach. Overripened peach, almost venturing into peach gummy ring form. Oh, so the hop burn nose that I was getting has dissipated to almost nothing. I don't smell any kind of hop burn. Now it's just concentrated fruit juice, and it has that dank floral thing. I think this is going to be delicious. Only one way to find out. Cheers, everyone. Thanks again to Sierra Hotel. Yeah, it doesn't have hop burn, but what it does have is a big greenness to it that isn't that hop burn. It's it has a green, tomato stalk kind of garden, floral thing going on. It does have a ton, though, of candied citrus and stone fruits at the front of the palate. Let's go body and mouthfeel. Body on this, a little bit touch over medium, maybe medium high. It's a little bit bigger than 7% beer, but looking at it, I figured it would be based on, just looking how milky it is. I'm happy to say it's not oxidized. I'm not getting like any cardboard-esque. I'm not getting like any tea notes. I'm not getting anything that would indicate to me that it's oxidized. Like it's not stale. It doesn't have anything going on like that. So yeah, body, higher side of medium into like higher, we'll say higher side of medium. The mouthfeel, it has a little bit more carbonation than I'm accustomed to from a lot of these beers. It has this, you know, somewhat soft, but more like approaching moderate carbonation. It's like, if this was like just like a regular IPA, I'd be like, oh, that's soft for the mouthfeel. But for like this style, it's not like overly soft. Really easy to drink though. 7%, you can't taste it. Right up front, candied citrus. It has, you know what I'm getting? I think this might be the first time or maybe the second time I've ever gotten this. We'll talk about it in a second, but I'm getting something specifically that a good friend of mine, viewer of the channel, Bud, says a lot, and a couple other people I've seen when it comes to Nelson. That's what I'm getting, I think, on the finish, like halfway through the palate on the back of the finish. That's why I say it has this greenness, something that I'm trying to figure out, and I know what it is now. I know what it is. I'm so happy about it. Anyway, up front, candy citrus, orange, tangerine mostly. There's an underlying, like, I'd say crackery into biscuity malt character. Very minute, but somewhat noticeable. Right after that, I get, again, like a peach gummy ring, but not as sweet. So not as candied, but like the flavor of a peach gummy ring. And then midway through the palate, there's a pop of pineapple. But what happens is I'm getting what some folks describe, I think, from the Nelson as diesel. I think I'm getting that diesel character. It's really cool. It's hard to explain. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It has like a diesel punch, like you know, like it's hard to explain. I don't want to say like a gas, but like it has just like that intense like fumes you would get. Like just the, it's just so hard to explain. Like because I don't think I've ever gotten it before. If I have, it's like one other time. But I think I know what I'm tasting now, what they reference as diesel. I don't know. I don't think I would ever myself say, oh, it tastes like diesel. Or sorry, that, you know, it has that like diesel punch. It just has like a fresh kind of feel to it. And like I said, it's more like a floral, dank, almost like green quality. But I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with my life. Finishes, again, a nice dank floral thing, that diesel per se. Very, very small hop burn. You know, like by now when I get hop burn, if I get a hop burn, here's how, at least for me, tell the difference between the bitterness of a beer. Like some folks will mistake bitterness for hop burn and vice versa. For me, the easiest way to figure it out is after you have drank maybe, you know, a quarter of the beer, a third of the beer. If you start getting like a substantial burn, why a lot of people refer to as hop burn, like in your throat, like in the back of the throat, kind of like you would with like a pepper, like a habanero that kind of hits the back of the throat. It starts to build and it starts to get like, I say numb, I guess that's probably incorrect, but if it just starts to build up and you get like a burny sensation, you know, just in the back of your throat, that's kind of how I you know the difference, because a bitterness never does that. A bitterness will be lingering, but never grabs the throat and turns into that burny sensation like a hop burn does. So I'm getting a little bit of that in the throat, but very minute. This is extremely mild from a hop burn perspective. Really good. I don't think, to me, this is like amazing. And again, it's 5 weeks old, so I would assume if I would have drank this, you know, 2 or 3 weeks old, I think I'll tell you what, I think, and this goes for a lot of different breweries, but maybe with Monkish, I think the hop burn, for me, I'm more susceptible to it. Maybe I'm more sensitive to it, because I feel like I get it more than a lot of other people who are beer tubers and just a lot of my friends. And while this is very mild, I think if I would have drank this 2 weeks ago, I think it would have been, you know, moderate and probably ruined the enjoyment. It's not ruined it for me right now, but I think a couple weeks ago it would have. And that's unfortunate in this day and age to, you know, not want to drink a beer for a month because, you know, you want them to kind of settle down, you know, especially when you're paying some of these prices. But, oh, pouring in the rest. Oh, I just kicked it up a notch. Wow. I think I liked Foggy Window better than this, but then again, I prefer double IPAs to single IPAs. I think this is a pretty, I don't know, that last sip was fucking dynamite. Hang on, let me go with another sip and then I'm going to give it a rating. Now, I'm going to keep it where I had it. I was thinking about giving it to low 4.5 for me, right? I think if the mouthfeel was better for me, I think I would have gave it like a 4.4, maybe a 4.45. I'm going to give it a high 4.25, and the reason for that is, again, touch of hop burn, still very slight, and the mouthfeel not being as spectacular as it can. And I just think as a whole, these flavors are awesome, but, I think to me, Foggy Window was better. And I'd imagine Foggiest Window is even better than that. So this is another really good monkish beer. There is, I would also say, like while there's a substantial dryness, this does have a mild to moderate bitterness. The one thing I've always said about West Coast hazies is that they bring typically a decent bitterness to the table more often than not, and monkish to me does that a lot. This has a little bit more bitterness than you get in like a typical hazy, where a lot of the hazies, they're meant to be, a little bit sweeter, not as bitter, so they're like mildly bitter. This is mild to moderately bitter. I'd like to see a little bit more bitter and a little less dry, and I think this would get easily into the 4.5 range. But anyway, monkish, Life Is Foggiest, I'm going to have no issue giving that a 4.35 out of 5, so high 4.25, really tasty beer. And I'm glad I was able to get a can of this courtesy of Sierra Hotel. So huge thanks to him for this beer. Price point availability. I looked on their website. Beers like this, their triple dry hopped IPAs, typically $22 to $24 a 4-pack. A bit pricey for a 7% beer, but it is a triple dry hop. So, it is what it is. It's California. Would I buy that again at $22 to $24 4-pack? Probably not. But if there was another beer on their website for the same price and it was a triple dry hopped IPA at 7%, yeah, I would totally give it a go. But I wouldn't rebuy this one specifically. I would like to just try Life Is Foggy and maybe even Life Is Foggier. I think maybe the less dry hopping maybe would work a little bit more for my palate specifically. And availability is monkish, tough to get. If you're in California, you can get their stuff. I think you can get their stuff delivered throughout California on their website. I'm sure a lot of their stuff sells out quickly. They get drips and drabs outside of the state here and there, but it's not like you can, you're in, the middle of nowhere, Maine, and can get their stuff, or maybe you can. I don't know. This is where you tell me. So post in the comment section if you've seen monkish outside of California. You're in Buffalo, New York, never seen it. I'm not going to say never will because you never know, but we definitely don't see it. So if you've had this one before, or Life Is Foggy or Life Is Foggier, post in the comment section. If you've had all three, which one do you prefer? After having this, I would like to try the base Life Is Foggy and Life Is Foggier just to see if they resonate more with my palate based on the dry hopping preference. I think what I'm starting to realize, for me personally, is triple dry hopping more often than not, I think, is a little bit excessive for what my palate wants. I think double dry hopping is pretty much the max. I think triple dry hopping, too often, it gives me the hop burn, or I have to wait a substantial amount of time to drink the beers. So I'm not going to say I'm going to, kind of not look for triple dry hop beers, but I think I'm going to pick and choose going forward from what breweries I'm getting them from and whatnot, because I don't think they add anything substantial to my enjoyability factor, for lack of a better term. I think it's something that, for me personally, I probably just want double dry hopped, and maybe not even double dry hopped. Anyway, here's thanks to Sierra Hotel. Thanks everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. 7% can't tell and didn't think I would. To the next one. Cheers.